welcome to day 2 of our emotional eating challenge. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. And as you can see, I've finally figured out how to be able to stream to multiple places at once so I can talk to all of you. And you guys have incredible energy, and I could not be happier. I really could not be happier to be connecting with you today. So, what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to start with our opening prayer, and then we're going to move into some muscle testing. Now, yesterday I asked you guys to take a look at some of the language that you were using to describe toxic food and to change that around. So, we're going to be clearing that up as well. Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay. Gosh, it's so exciting. I'm getting all distracted. Okay, let's go for this. O Great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives, and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended, that our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste. Okay, hi everyone. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna look at my phone as well because I can't see your names, but I can see that you guys are commenting. So I'm just gonna switch the phone on and check in with Happy Facebook so I can see you and be with you and properly connect with you on this one. So guys, we'll let that do its thing. Okay, so we're going to look at some undercurrents, some beliefs that kind of keep people stuck in emotional eating. So what is emotional eating, guys? Emotional eating is when we are eating our feelings instead of feeling them, when we are using food as a source of comfort, love, reassurance, nurturing, or as a form of self-punishment and self-abuse, instead of being with our real feelings, and then actually being able to eat what we really want, what's really nurturing and healthy for our bodies, instead of having to stuff ourselves in order to silence those voices inside of us that are keeping us stuck. Because I've studied the Course in Miracles for a very long time, and you see the games that your fear mind plays with you, especially when it comes to food. So your fear mind posits, right, that if you eat the crisps, the chocolate, the Christmas pudding, the turkey, etc., that you are spoiling yourself and that you are going to be really happy and that everything's going to feel super good, and that this is the reward you're giving yourself. And then you follow that advice and you go and you eat that food that your mind is telling you, or your fear is telling you that you need to eat or you want to eat to feel good. And then after you've eaten that food, you feel bad because that food wasn't good for you, right? And it causes your hormones to get imbalanced. It causes your blood sugar to spike and then drop. It causes your mental health to go bonkers. And you don't understand why you're feeling bad. And that's when the fear mind kicks in and literally kicks you when you're down and goes, hey, you're so stupid for eating that food. Why did you even put it in your mouth in the first place, right? You should be eating way healthier than this. So the fear mind sets you up for the fall and then kicks you when you're down. Whereas the mind of the Holy Spirit, that still small voice within, what it does is it says to you really quietly in your ear, what do you really desire? What's going to give you energy? What's going to give you health? What's going to give you focus? What's going to give you nurturing? What's going to give you joy? And from that place, you make a choice about what to eat. And then when you eat the things that will nurture you and that love you, they make you feel good, right? And other people may not understand because they're eating from a fear-based place. They may be like, well, why are you choosing that salad? You're depriving yourself. Why don't you have this piece of chocolate? You're depriving yourself. Because they're in that fear mentality that not having the food that would hurt them is an act of deprivation. And that's called a distortion of truth. Right? It's a distortion of truth. But when you're listening to your loving mind, it says, eat the healthy, loving stuff, and then you feel good afterwards. And when you feel good afterwards, guess what? You're more likely to follow your divine life purpose. You're more likely to get more work done. You're more likely to be a better person in your work life, in your relationships with your children. You're more likely to be able to get rid of the disease and to stay healthy and to reduce the inflammation in your body. You're more likely to succeed because you put the foods that loved you back inside you. right? So you have the fear mind and you have the loving mind. And in Course in Miracles, it talks about the fear mind speaking first and the fear mind speaking loudest, and then this still small voice kicking in, which is why normally the first voice that I hear in my head isn't the one that I follow. It's the still small, quiet, peaceful voice that I look to for guidance in these things. Hello, I rushed home from work. I'm so glad you rushed home, darling. I'm so glad you're here. Tracy saying hi. Calcom saying hi. Hi, everyone. Today I cooked with no salt, but I'm still using coconut oil though. Hey, progress, not perfection, guys. So yesterday I talked about not using oil, sugar, and salt for 3 days to completely rebalance your taste buds. And that's what some of the participants are talking about. But it just genuinely takes 3 days to completely recalibrate your taste buds and your taste systems to change what tastes good for you, which is pretty crazy, right? But things taste different after 2 or 3 days of not having your system bombarded with oil, salt, and sugar. And that's because these things are what our body is hardwired to create dopamine with, but also to anchor as we need them for survival. I'm sorry to hear you have a cold at the moment, darling. I think there's a lot of people feeling that in the winter vibes. And we'll just send you lots of love and unconditional healing. Okay, so we've taken a look at the way that the fear mind works. And yesterday I got asked, how do you shift out of that space? So in the moment, right, when you don't have time to do a deeper healing session, when you don't have time to get to the root of what it is that you're trying to hide or what problem it is that you're trying to solve with food instead of with love or that connection with Creator, from that space, right? That's where I use prayer. And what does prayer look like when it comes to solving emotional eating problems? And I learned to pray straight from Marianne Williamson, and you guys can see her influence really powerfully in my work and Course in Miracles. Because for me, prayer is about coming to Creator or God or whatever name you have for that consciousness exactly as you are, not hiding anything, not pretending to be somewhere else, just coming exactly as you are. And then the prayer provides that space for the miracle to occur. So, for example, let's say that I'm absolutely exhausted and I stumble into the kitchen and I haven't had time to drink a glass of water or even go to the bathroom yet or wash my face. And I'm really grumpy and I'm absolutely exhausted at the end of my tether. And my mind goes, I need a cup of coffee, right? I'm Brazilian. That's where my mind goes when I'm in an addictive state. I need a cup of coffee. I need energy. I need it now. And the first thing I will do is I will breathe, okay? And I will say, Creator, everything in my body is saying to just stick a cup of coffee down me right now so I can get moving, so I can feel normal, so I can have energy. But I know that that isn't going to serve me. I know that it's going to make me grumpy and depressed and irritable and angry for the rest of the day. And I know that it's an act of violence towards my body. I'm not enlightened enough not to want the cup of coffee, but I am enlightened enough to know that it's not what I'm supposed to be eating or drinking. So I need a miracle here, right? I really need a miracle. I need help. And in that moment, if I breathe, and that's the breath is really important here. Breath is the only force powerful enough to completely recalibrate your autoimmune system, which is the part of your nervous system that's completely beyond the control of your conscious mind. So breathing when praying is key to unlocking the power of prayer and to be able to receive the prana and the divine energy that you're looking for. Okay, so I will say that to Creator, and then I will breathe into that space. And I will feel the peace wash over me. And normally, what I was trying to get from the food, which is the energy, right, or the comfort or the reassurance, comes straight from that connection with Creator, straight from that answered prayer. And from that space, I will then get shown whether it's, normally it's a carrot and ginger or a green juice. Sometimes it's a big glass of water with vitamin C. Sometimes it's like one of my favorite things is a hot cacao first thing in the morning, which is full of magnesium and zinc and selenium. Sometimes it's my protein shake, which is hemp and maca and a bunch of super green foods. But I'll always get shown the food that's going to give me what I need to live my divine life purpose that day. And that's how I break the cycle of emotional eating in the moment when the shit hits the fan, basically, when the rubber hits the road and I don't have time to go and do a deeper digging as to what's really going on inside my life and why I'm in that situation in the first place. Why am I making enough time to rest? Why am I getting enough sleep? Why am I letting myself get to the point of exhaustion so that I'm making bad decisions and my lifestyle's being distributed by that, right? Which is the deeper healing. But in that moment, when the rubber hits the road and you haven't had time to get the help or the nurturing that you need, prayer is the bridge for me. And that's what gets me to make the space and the time to rest, to make the space and the time to get support, to make the space and the time to make my health a priority so that I will then do that healing swap or get that healing session and get to the root of what I'm doing that's causing me to move away from the foods that will nurture my health and my future and my lifestyle towards the food that hurt and punish and destroy and harm me. Okay, so one of the Facebook users is saying, I'm doing liver flushes and I'm receiving gifts and praise using your imprints. Aho, my daughter found a job. Congratulations. The liver is the seat of your power, so the more you clear it, the more powerful you and your family will become. I keep saying I'm supported spiritually, emotionally, and financially. Aho, my darling, that's the truth of the universe. You are. Thank you, Sky and Team Skylar. I can feel the power and it feels scary most of the times. Power is scary, but not as scary as powerlessness, right? And that's what happens when you step into the power of your health and the power of your energy, is you realize that yes, stepping into your divine power is scary, especially if you've never had that experience before, but it's not as scary as living in powerlessness. Powerlessness over your food, powerlessness over your addictions, powerlessness over your body, powerlessness over your life. And your fear mind posits that the more that you keep control of everything, then the more power that you have. But that's not real power, that's fake power. We are tiny humans on a tiny circle planet spinning through the universe and multiverse with very little control over where we're going or why we're going there, and very little knowledge as to what's happening. So when you hand over your power to divine power, that's when you tap into real power. It goes from being fake control to being real control, because it's the only intelligence, the divine intelligence, that knows what's happening in every level of the universe, at every level of your life and every level of your being, right? So you're switching from fake control to real control. And I go more into this. We're running a free masterclass tonight. That's my Christmas gift to you guys. If you'd like to come and join us in our free masterclass, it's literally straight after this, starting at 6 p.m. So if you'd like that, just literally drop us a private message to the team, to Team Sky, or drop me a PM if you're on my Facebook page, and we'll send you the free link. And we'll go deeper into the downloads, the muscle testing, etc., then we can go to inside this space. Okay, but it's really, really deep to connect with what's the real motivation behind your food. And what we talked about yesterday, and we're about to do the clearing now, is how we are programmed by the media to think of the food that's poisoning us as pleasure. And we're told that this is what's going to give us status, it's what's going to give us happiness, it's what's going to give us freedom, it's what's going to make us feel included and like we belong. And all of this is anchored on food. And food, guys, does not have that power, right? Food does not have that power. Only all that is has that power. Food does not have the power to nurture, comfort, and love you. Other people do, Creator does, but food does not have that power. And what happens when you give that power to food is that it's outside of your control, right? Because A, you can't control what food is going to be available to you all the time, especially depending on what part of the world that you're in. But you also can't control how being able to eat all the time, right? You're not always going to have a chocolate biscuit available to you. You're not always going to have a cup of tea available to you or a cup of coffee available to you. So when you put your ability to comfort, nurture, and love yourself outside of God, outside of yourself, onto a plate of food, you're going to run into emotional problems, right? Because food is not love. Food is not creator. Food is not God. Food is not comfort. Food is food. And it's meant to be used to nurture your body. And it can be used as an act of love, but it can also be used as an act of self-abuse. And that's literally what we're being programmed with on a regular basis. We're being programmed. I can't wait for the masterclass either. I'm actually just excited to be here on this challenge with you guys. But I wanted to just talk about this language for a moment, because somebody yesterday in the challenge said, and they actually wrote down, but if I'm really good, right, can I treat myself once a week with unhealthy food? If I'm really good during the week, can I treat myself with unhealthy food? And that language will destroy all of your attempts to switch from unhealthy food to healthy food. Because if the unhealthy food is the joy, the reward, the treat, your heart is hardwired to get you the joy, the reward, the treat. So the first thing that you have to do is shift the language that you're using to describe unhealthy food. You have to describe unhealthy food as poison, as sick, as disgusting. You cannot describe it as the joy, the light, the reward, the treat, and not want it. Okay, those are the words that are designed to make you make you attach very high vibrational energies to food that are toxic. And you want to attach those high vibrational energies to foods that are an act of love, to foods that will make you feel good, to foods that will nurture you, to foods that will take care of you. All right. And marketing, like people literally pour billions of dollars into food marketing a year to get you to anchor those words, right? That the best food is unhealthy food, that the unhealthy food is a reward, that the unhealthy food is what's going to make you popular and make you a good cook in your social circles, that you have to be like provide the naughty food, the bad food, and that you like the best food is the unhealthy food. And they do that because they know it sells. Oh, that's my baby going into the bath. And they do that because they know it sells. And they do that because they know that that's what you want. You want the best. You want and you deserve the best food, the best situations, the best vibrations, the best circumstances. But it's a distortion to tell you that food that's literally pulling nutrition out of your body and making you sick is the best food for you, right? It's just a complete lie. And that's where we have to use the power of the truth. We have to use that energy of, I'm not letting that in, right? I am not letting that in. You are not going to teach me that foods that are actually going to make me sick are what I need to feel good about myself, what I need to feed my family, what I need to bring into my space. I'm not going to let that in. The Facebook person, the social conditioning is affecting me. I know what the right thing to do is, but I'm screaming inside. Yeah, the moment of awakening is often quite a strange moment, because you become so conscious of the lies that you're being told every day, and you're like, how are they allowed to get away with this? Particularly that kind of marketing towards children, I think should be completely illegal, and thankfully in the UK within a few years it will be. But this energy is really this energy of integrity, where the lies stop working on you and the truth starts kicking in, that that stuff was never good for you, it never will be good for you, and that it's not the best food, it never was, right? And that's why, especially when women say to me, I'll never get my family to eat healthy food, I'll never get my family to come along on this journey with me. And it's like, well, for starters, let's just do this for you. But second of all, you won't convince anyone to switch over to healthy food if you don't have the energy that this is the best food available in this space, right? The reason that people follow me and nurture me and switch their whole diets and nutrition plan is because I believe to the very core of my being and my big, beautiful beating heart that I have the best meal in the room, that the healthiest food is the most delicious food, is the best food, is the most sophisticated food. And that's the belief that I have and the belief that I resonate. I don't have the feeling of missing out on any level. And that's what's attractive. That's what's juicy. That's what magnetizes people to change, because they want to feel like they're enough. They want to feel fulfilled. They want to feel like they have the best food in the room. And I feel really naughty. I feel really naughty going into a restaurant and ordering delicious, healthy food and normally paying less for it than other people, getting a better, more gorgeous body for it than other people, and getting to actually eat food that tastes good and looks good. It's alive, it's green, it's healthy. So for me, it's really naughty to be able to order the best food, pay the least amount for it, and get the most gorgeous body because of it. And it's like the best kept secret on the planet. And that energy is contagious, right? I don't walk in there with the energy of it's depressing, or if I'm depriving myself, or I have to eat like this. I walk in there with this energy of mischievousness and playfulness and enjoyment and joy and curiosity. And how can I make this menu work for me? And how can I nurture myself from this place today? And what good things can come from this? And it's excitement and play and pleasure. And those energies are what manifest belonging and inclusion and people wanting you around. Facebook, you're saying, watching in slow motion adverts of coffee filling. Yes, the chocolate oozing, the crusty bread, all done. So much damage to my psyche. It's like soft porn. and makes it feel intimate pleasure in the moment, when in truth it's not. No, and we can suppress all emotions with food, including sexual desire, right? Particularly women, where we're not allowed to ask for and embrace our sexuality. Food, people will say it. They'll say, I had a foodgasm. And I'm like, okay, if you need a foodgasm, we need to talk about real orgasms. Okay, because food is good, but an orgasm is something different, and you can have both. I'm all for foodgasms, but you're allowed to have a sexuality that's not connected to food, right? But it's more comfortable for women and men in particular to be talking about food and foodgasms than to be walking down the street and actually feeling desire and feeling sexual attraction, especially if you're in a long-term relationship and you feel guilty about having that kind of a sex drive. So it's easier to repress it and to project it and connect it to food. And that's one of the biggest subconscious blocks to actually having a balanced body, a healthy body, a beautiful body. 80% of people that have emotional eating and that have problems with food have some kind of sexual trauma or sexual abuse, which makes them feel uncomfortable having the body that they want, because then they'll get sexual attention that they don't know how to handle, right? So that's another very unspoken reason for emotional eating, is repressing sexuality, hiding your physical beauty because you don't know how to handle sexual attraction, and hiding the guilt that you feel for feeling sexually attracted to others. And then on top of that, you can add the jealousy, right? The jealousy that your partner might feel if you are attractive to others. The jealousy, like I literally had a client tell me that she wouldn't lose the weight because her partner would get jealous, and he was really jealous when she was good looking. And I have had people tell me that their wives don't want them to go to a yoga class or to the gym because there'll be women or there'll be men there. So this energy of, if I just stay a little bit podgy, then I'm not really that attractive and I won't get into this energy of jealousy, is very, very strong. Okay, so hi Skylar. I try to find a way. I just love certain tastes and my freedom. So when I would I really be enlightened? Wouldn't it matter what I eat? Because it's just an illusion. I just want to have the freedom to choose and still be okay. Wouldn't that be possible? You do have the freedom to choose. You have complete freedom to choose. This idea that this is why it's back to depriving yourself. This idea that you're losing a freedom in any way is ridiculous, right? You're not losing any freedom by choosing healthy food, right? You have a choice to choose healthy food or unhealthy food. That is freedom. It is complete, unadulterated, unstoppable, literally magnetic, irresistible freedom, right? Limitless freedom. It is your choice. The way that we get conditioned is exactly that we are giving up our freedom by choosing things that will be good for us. But the ultimate expression of freedom is exercising our free will, right? What is it that you're going to do with the freedom that has been given to you? And how are you going to exercise that freedom? So, of course, you can eat whatever you want. But when you do that, how do you feel? Right? And that's where you get to the truth. When you eat whatever you want, how do you feel after you've eaten it? How does your body feel? How does your mind feel? How do you feel? Right? And yes, everything is an illusion except love. And whenever you're eating food that makes you feel bad, you're eating fear. Okay, so of course it's an illusion, but you can buy into illusions. Illusions can be absolutely terrifying, right? Just ask the people that are in hospital right now. Illusions can have a strong power over people because you're choosing whether you dance with illusions of fear or whether you stand in the truth of love. Is the food that you are eating love? And that's the only way to eat truth, I think. But that's my personal experience, is that one of the hardest parts of awakening when it comes to food is that the things that your ego or your fear mind told you that you wanted were never the things that you truly wanted or desired in the first place. And a lot of the ascended masters and the gurus talk about this, right? They talk about this, how very often what we think we want is transient and literally something that's actually going to make us more unhappy than we were in the first place. That we don't actually desire what we think we desire. We desire what we're socially conditioned to want. We desire what we were taught we want, but we don't know who we are. And we don't know what we actually like or what we actually want. And for me, especially because I've got a 10-month-old, to see how he chooses his food and what his desires are versus the way that I've been conditioned to eat all my life, right? It's very interesting and very different. And I was a nanny for a long time, all the way through law school. The way children eat before they get conditioned to eat is completely different than the way adults eat. Right? They don't think they have to clean their plates. They just eat however much they want, whenever they want. They like to pick little bits of things throughout the day. They don't just eat food for matter. They like to taste everything, which is, part of the oral phase, but also incredibly beautiful. And guys, They stop when they're full, right? They eat how much they want and then they stop, and they eat when they're hungry and then they stop. You rarely see a child overeating or undereating, and sometimes they fast. Sometimes children don't eat for 1 or 2 days at a time, and you have to tell them to eat or remind them to eat. So it's when you take away the layers and layers and layers of social conditioning, children listen to their bodies, which is not what adults are hardwired to do, but that is what you want. So we're getting into an even deeper existential conversation here of what do you really want? And even what is your idea of freedom? Why is your idea of freedom being able to do whatever you want, when you want, however you want it, as opposed to being able to be who you are? And from that space of being who you are, participate when you want to and participate when you don't want to. And very often, what I find interesting about the deeper I go into my spirituality is that things fall away, not get added on. My fear mind is always telling me I need more food, I need more money, I need more this, I need more stuff. But when I tap into that still voice for peace, it's normally about letting go of that altogether. I don't need more. I need to be grateful for what I have. I need to enjoy and fill the space I'm in and master the space that I've created in the universe. And that is what brings me joy, right? But the fear mind posits that you need more and more and more food, more stuff, whatever I want, when I want it, as opposed to appreciating what you have and really allowing yourself to be in a space where you're giving yourself what you need, not just what your mind wants. Because mind and body can be two very different things. So someone's saying, hi Sky, I've been vegan for a while now, but recently I started to crave meat, which I don't want to eat for different reasons. Why the craving? What is the body missing? Normally when the body's craving meat, it's craving iron and B vitamins and chromium. It can also be in need of particular minerals that the animal that you're eating is getting. So for example, let's say you're craving fish. Normally it's because you're deficient in iodine and zinc and selenium, right? If you're craving beef, it's normally because you're deficient in iron and B vitamins. If you're craving, and normally literally whatever the animal is eating, their body then breaks down, and every nutrient that you get from an animal's meat was first plants. Okay, whether it's because they eat another animal that was a herbivore in the food chain, or whether that's because they directly eat and digest that plant itself. So you're now looking at what is the animal eating, what minerals, vitamins, what are they eating that I require? It might be essential oils and fatty acids. It might be specific vitamins and minerals, but what does that animal consume on a regular basis that I need? Particularly things like meat and dairy, you're normally looking at iron, B vitamins, chromium, and what's the word? Sulfur, because meat is a very strong source of sulfur. So things like MSM are a good source of that as well. I'm realizing in wanting freedom to eat what I want, I'm actually being a slave to my taste buds. Very often, not just your taste buds, to the images that you're shown. We're actually shown about 300 images a day about what we should want and should be eating and what to crave. And it's actually statistically proven that the people that think they're not influenceable by the adverts are the ones that are the most influenced by the adverts. When I studied hypnosis, they literally had already, and this was almost 10 years ago, they had literally already put into, I suppose, common knowledge that you had to have a suggestion presented to you around 300 times before it would bypass your ability to control your response to that suggestion. So adverts are geared to run so that you see them around 300 times, right? It's not a coincidence. And when it starts to come into your body, that's when you start to think, oh, I finally got what I wanted. But it's exactly the same in the beauty industry. It's designed to make women feel ugly, so then they'll go out and buy makeup. Food is designed to make you feel deprived and like you are not fulfilled or satisfied without having that food. So then you have to go out and buy it, because otherwise a multi-billion-dollar industry would crash to the ground, right? You don't see any adverts for broccoli or apples or bananas, even though they are there. You see adverts for the foods that they need you to buy and that they need you to want. Callie, I'm saying that reminds me of a quote by Rudolf Steiner, something to the effect, freedom is not being able to will whatever one wills, but to be able to want what one wills. Exactly. That's so much better than I could ever say it. So thank you so much for sharing. That was a really good share. What about butter? I'm having cravings for butter sometimes. So normally when you're craving butter, milk, dairy, you want to look at two things. You want to look at your relationship with your mother, right? Because All dairy comes back to that first relationship where you're either drinking milk as a baby or you're breastfed as a baby. It's that intimate mother-child bond. But also you're looking at your gut biome and your microbiome and the fatty acids as well. When you lack fats, you lack nurturing. So when you're normally people are looking for butter, milk, dairy, yogurt, they're trying to recover from some kind of emotional abuse they experienced as children, either from their mother or from their family environment. And this feeling of comfort, because when you eat milk, your brain literally makes endorphins and dopamine. Okay. So when you're that, and this is part of what we look at. So we have a free Facebook group called Manifesting Health. You're welcome to come in there, and we do muscle testing and regular challenges and lives and Q&As and energy readings as well. So I can go much deeper with you guys than I can go in this particular challenge. But when it comes to food, every food that we crave has a reason. And when it comes to dairy, it's normally deep down mother's love, self-nurturing, and ability to receive support and comfort from others and connecting with others. So that's normally what happens with dairy. And if you look back, especially at babies when they're weaning and they're learning to eat, right? Their mother is their first source of food. And then they're learning to eat. They're being introduced to different types of dairy, normally formula first, and then a few other kinds of soft foods. And very often baby formula or breast milk is added into baby food to keep the nutrition up as they are moving forward. But yeah, okay, so everywhere where everybody yesterday that wrote down, right, the beliefs that they had distorted. So if you had the belief that, the butter is like an orgasm and the crunchy bread is the reward for a hard day's work, and it's going to comfort you and make the hard day that you face or the fact that you're not living your divine life purpose feel better. Anywhere where you had those toxic beliefs, can we release them, destroy, and discreate them now? Oh, and if you want these, just say yes or type yes. And we're just going to ask that divine light inside us to sever all the cords that we have to food as the source of our love, comfort, nurturing, and reconnect us up to that divine light as the source of our food, comfort, and nurturing. Can we just allow that divine light to dissolve all the cords to what you think you want and to connect you with who you really are and the truth of what you want? Okay, beautiful. So guys, your homework for today, should you choose to accept it, okay, should you choose to accept it, is to look at the places in your life where you need to ask for divine intervention or where you need to start praying, where you don't have time to go into the deeper healing, but where you would like a divine intervention. Because that's what stops, I think, 99% of food cravings, is having that moment of leaning on Creator instead of leaning on food. Okay, so where are you needing to lean on Creator or ask for divine intervention or pray that you are forgetting to pray? All right, wherever that moment is, type that into the box for me or share it with me, and then we will come up with prayers or divine intervention requests tomorrow together, because what's it called? Preparation prevents piss poor performance, as my coach used to say in high school. So when you're prepared for those places where you trip up on a regular basis, where you don't know how to connect with all that is, instead of leaning into food for comfort, love, reassurance, or to cover up trauma, that's where things get stuck. And that's where we get blocked. So share that with me either in the Facebook group or on my live page on YouTube. Come and join us in the Facebook group or come and join us for the free masterclass. There's going to be a lot of muscle testing in the free masterclass as well, and I'll teach you how to do that. Don't worry. I'm going to go over the most common blocks to having or to keeping you stuck in the cycle of emotional eating. And we're going to do live Q&As and maybe a live healing if we have enough time, so you can see exactly how this works and how we clear that energy. So last question is, when you have a craving for bread. So bread is actually sugar. When you have a craving for bread, rice, crisps, potatoes, it's your body craving sugar. And normally that's a deficiency in chromium, and it's a deficiency in joy. So when we start craving things like bread, cake, rice, sugar, it's because we're not getting enough joy from life, and then the food becomes our joy, right? We're not doing enough of the things that make us happy because we think we have to be someone else, either to make money or to take care of others, and then food starts being the source of joy because we're hiding how unhappy we really are because we're afraid of what people will think. So when you're craving bread, rice, pasta, it's normally a shortage of chromium, and a mix of chromium, cinnamon will normally help your blood sugar balance as well. But from a spiritual perspective, a metaphysical perspective, you're looking at not having joy from life and not doing enough of what makes you happy, and then food becomes your source of happiness, right? Because you're going to eat that warm piece of toast to make up for the fact that you had to do that really stressful thing at work, and you're going to curl up and dip the bread into the soup to comfort yourself because you didn't have any time to spend with your family today, or you didn't get to hug your child, or you didn't get to speak with your loved one, or you can't deal with the fact that somebody in your family isn't doing well, or that you're struggling with anxiety, etc. So normally it's a sign of comfort and nurturing. What about salty things? Salt is about communication and normally about self-criticism. Salt, if you think about salt, it's like turning the tap on. So if I just basically pour a teaspoon of salt on top of my chips, for example, and I eat those chips, my blood will be going at this speed, nice and gentle, before I eat that salt and those chips. And once I eat those salt and those chips, suddenly it's like shh, it's like really fast. It's like somebody turns the tap on full pelt. That's why salt increases blood pressure, literally. Right? And that's why they ask you to cut out salt if you have high blood pressure. So when you crave salty things, it's almost like an overload of communication and not being able to stop criticizing yourself or stop criticizing others. Saying, is it the same for craving animal fats, need for nurturing? Yeah, whenever you're craving fat, it's insulation and a much bigger need for nurturing and support in your life. So normally it's ironic, right, that we need nurturing and we need support, but we have trust issues, so we won't let those people in, and we actually feel insulted when other people try to support us, like they're telling us that we can't do it ourselves, and that's normally what we are working on. So I love you guys very much. Tomorrow I'll be doing another part of the emotional eating challenge, and I'll see you guys here at the exact same time, exact same place. We're going to move over to the masterclass for 6 p.m. and I will see some of you there. Let me know the places where you need to pray or you need divine intervention when it comes to your emotional eating habits, and let me know the emotions that you get stuck in. Is it loneliness? Is it anger? Is it anxiety? Is it heartbreak? What is it that comes up for you? Is it comfort? What is it that comes up for you that makes you reach for the things that are actually damaging your body? And what are the lies that you tell yourself in that space, that that food could comfort you, that it could mend your heart, that it could make you feel better, right? That are stopping you from stepping into your power and taking back that beautiful body and creating the health that I believe you deserve and that is your birthright. Okay, guys, let's do our closing prayer, and I'll see most of you over in the masterclass. O great spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives, and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended, that our pain be lifted, to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste. I love you guys.